Welcome back to a brand new edition of What's Next Longevity Deal Talk. We are glad you're spending time with us. I'm Fred Fishkin along with Mary Furlong. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Fred. We have a really important summer deal to talk about today.
We do. It's the acquisition of Linked Senior by LifeLoop. And joining us, we have with us former Linked Senior founder and CEO Charles deVilmorin. Hi, Charles.
Hi, Fred.
And we should mention you have a new title, General Manager of Linked Senior with LifeLoop. That's where Rob Fisher is CEO. Hi, Rob.
Fred and Mary, thanks for having us today. We are excited to spend this time with you.
We so appreciate both of you taking the time to join us for the podcast. Before we talk about how the deal happened and why, let's give some background. Rob, tell us about LifeLoop, its mission, and give us an overview.
Well, Mary, let me see how well I do here. I'm going on 5 months in my role as CEO of LifeLoop, coming off of more than about 20 years in healthcare tech and services. Personally, I couldn't be more excited about this opportunity. For one, it's an opportunity to serve the incredible population in our seniors. But even more so, I've got the opportunity to work with this incredible team here at LifeLoop. While ultimately we're making software and technology solutions that are aimed at improving resident experience, it's our people that really make it special and allow for the impact that we have with these seniors. So let me take a moment and try to explain our business. So LifeLoop has a singular goal of helping senior living communities flourish with a hyper focus on resident experience. And we do that directly and indirectly through staff and family. Now, what do we mean by that? We've created a comprehensive community operations and resident experience platform. By doing so, we're bringing together all the tools and innovation that operators need in one place. So we'll start with empowering staff through workflow efficiencies, enhancing resident life through personalized engagement and purpose, connecting family members to their loved ones. And then when we do all three of those, we're able to enable operators with data and insights to more effectively manage their communities. Now, we've been doing this for 25 years. It's actually our anniversary this year. And we currently support over 4,900 communities and 500,000 residents.
That's so impressive. I took a tour one time and saw the residents with Jack York. It was quite wonderful to see.
It is quite moving too.
And Charles, I've known you a long time, since the very beginning. So tell us about the background of Linked Senior. And I know our friends in Toronto are very excited about you as well, the Cabby people. So tell us about Linked Senior and how did you get to this point?
Thanks, Mary. Thanks for the cue to Cabby. I'm a big fan of their work as well. I mean, you know, it's difficult to start talking about Linked Senior without referencing, Jack York, Mary. You've known him probably, well, actually more than I have. He's the true pioneer. He started this category. So I sometimes like to say that I'm in this seat thanks to him. And many of us in this category, and actually most in senior living, should be very grateful of him starting this amazing company called It's Never Too Late. And I say that, with obviously the fact that they were competitors of ours for years, but what they've done, what Jack has done, is really, really amazing work. Like It's Never Too Late, Linked Senior was started on a very simple idea, which is that residents in senior living should be able to find purpose every day. We have this say called Old People Are Cool, which is this campaign. We have these stickers and so on. But, this anti-ageism campaign. And I think it's important to be reminded that everyone, including older people, have this basic human right, which is to find purpose. And so, in senior living, it becomes difficult to deliver on that promise because of many reasons. We're very healthcare oriented. Obviously, staffing is an issue these days. But so Linked Senior was formed around this idea of how can we help providers deliver on that promise. And so we built content, education, technology solutions, and all around that idea. And so just prior to the acquisition, we had well past over 600 individual locations touching the lives of 50,000 residents. So that's the background.
Terrific. Rob, tell us about the reasons for the combination here and how it came about.
Yeah, so the reasons I think are pretty straightforward, and Charles just spoke to this, being the pioneers in the industry when it's related to resident engagement. Between Jack starting the business many years ago, 25 years ago, as we said, and then Charles and his team 17 years ago. It was a desire for both entities to come together and take on that challenge together, realizing that we'd be able to scale and provide even greater impact when we brought both businesses together. So mission alignment was critical for us. I think that there have been conversations off and on through the years. The timing was right this year to make it happen, and here we are. So we're bringing together Charles and Jeff as co-founder, and their incredible team, and the way that they go about business and servicing their customers and bringing them into the way that we happen to do it. And I've been through enough of these that there's recognition that both sides coming together and picking the things that we do the best and the best of both worlds is going to be extremely impactful for not just our people and our business, but for the residents that we serve.
Charles, what can you add to that? The story about how the deal happened and why?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rob touched a few important points, which is really this idea of mission alignment. What's interesting at this stage, Fred and Mary, is that unlike 15 years ago, people now know that life enrichment truly works and technology that supports it really truly works. So we know obviously that it leads to healthier and happier residents. Like Rob mentioned, huge staff efficiency, which is a big issue, big plus these days. And obviously families are more satisfied. So, all of that leads to just better occupancy. I like to sometimes say that senior living runs better on LifeLoop, and it truly does. I think that the other thing that's important is that with the idea of building best of breed, like Rob mentioned, there's also this idea of building it faster. There's a lot of exciting things to do for this industry. I think that resident engagement, resident experience is the hardest category happening, and we're definitely the leaders. LifeLoop was a leader before, but we're now even more the leader, growing even faster. And I think it's really focusing on that promise of delivering on these of person-centered living. The last thing I would say is that, there's been these acquisitions, but what I have a lot of respect for is Rob's vision. The team at LifeLoop is by far one of the best teams in senior living, the best team in our category. And that's exciting because we kind of keep that pioneer spirit also.
Well, you've done really well with engagement at Link Senior, and I think you can bring that skill set to LifeLoop and deepen there. So Rob, it's been a little over 2 years since LifeLoop merged with IN2L, keeping the LifeLoop name. So you're not a stranger to bringing two companies, two cultures together. Can you talk about your plans to do that? And also, do you have other acquisitions in the future? Because I do think it's blue ocean water in terms of opportunity.
Well, love to talk to you about that. Maybe offline.
Yes.
But no, you're absolutely right. We brought these businesses together a few years ago, and the business has continued to gain momentum over these last few years. And we're going to continue to be focused on delivering best-in-class solutions. We've had some changes along the way, which tends to happen post-acquisition. But I'm grateful for all the leaders that had come before to get us to where we are. Again, 25 years of this business. And I know Charles and I have talked about this, him having been in this marketplace for as long as he has, that there have been a number of companies that have come and gone. And we are actually one of the longest prevailing entities that's been focused on technology. So that's a credit to how we've done business in the past. And again, I'm grateful for those that have come before me. With my own experiences in transactions and bringing cultures together, and I'm a big believer that culture is a business differentiator, and it's not through the words that you put on paper, but it's through the feeling and the actions that are created within the business. But I was with my former organization for 12 years through 4 transactions, which was quite the time. And there's different ways to approach transactions, and that's some will run from them because of the fear of change and not feeling as if they're in control. And some will, as I've done, is take the opportunity to learn both what you learn the good, and sometimes you learn the bad of what you probably shouldn't do. So I've had a pretty robust set of circumstances to learn from. A few things that I'd say that I want to make sure that we do, which is to set simple goals, not necessarily easy to execute, but simple goals. And then 1, do no harm. And when I say do no harm, it is to do no harm to our customers and our employees. We have the thesis for bringing these businesses together. We're doing so because of a shared passion of the people and the mission to the customers. And so we're going to stay focused on that. And we're not going to allow ego, which can happen in business. We're not going to allow ego to get in the way of that. And then change, as I mentioned, change is inevitable. Whether people want to recognize it or not, change is going to happen. And all markets are consistently evolving, as is this marketplace. Quite frankly, coming from healthcare to where we are now, senior living is behind healthcare, which I thought was hard to fathom, but that's the reality. So we have a really unique opportunity to learn from the changes that occur within our own business through this, and actually embrace that change and bring it to the senior living marketplace at large, and help to drive change in this market for the better. So those are some unique experiences that I feel like I've been able to learn from. Putting that into maybe context of this acquisition and senior living as a whole, and thinking about healthcare, there are definitely some parallels to my experience. So first, value-based care. I'm sure that's a topic of conversation you all probably have with folks on your podcast. Value-based care will continue to make a move into senior living. CMS has a goal to have 100% of Medicare beneficiaries on some sort of value-based care program, whether that's Medicare Advantage or through an ACO by the year 2030. So we're only 5 to 6 years out from that. What that means is that more care will be provided at quote unquote home. And in the cases of senior living, we're talking about at the residence, whether that's assisted or memory care, or maybe it's even independent. So more and more care or oversight will be rendered. So value-based care is making its way in. And that's probably not news to folks. I think the tangible changes to that are what are hard for people to actually recognize. The adoption curve is another. So adoption of technology, in healthcare, and as it is with senior living, the only way you're going to create greater outcomes is through the adoption of these technologies. And there are the turnover that's actually existing in senior living with staff does create difficulty for consistent leverage and adoption of technology. I think we're going to continue to see more operators maybe looking for standardization, and through that standardization should see greater adoption of tech. So we're excited to be part of that. And then the last thing is service. Service, no matter what marketplace you're in, while again, I'll go back to we provide technology and software solutions. At the end of the day, it is our service and our people that make the difference. We have probably 30% of our staff that are former practitioners within senior living. And I mean, that is an absolute difference maker for us, because we're not a bunch of talking heads, not to say that there are talking heads out there, but we actually have the people that have been in those shoes, can speak the language, don't just empathize, but sympathize with folks because of their own experiences. So I think service will continue to play a major role in differentiation here. And we are just absolutely, I'm thrilled to have that many former practitioners on staff.
Yeah, that's very telling. I was recently at dinner with a CIO of a large senior community. And one of the things they said is that if you can show us something that makes residents happy, makes families happy, and reduce staff turnover, those are the things you want. So to have someone on your side that understands the pressure that the staff is under is really a real
Yep.
solution.
Yeah, well, it doesn't take it, Mary, sorry, I was going to say it doesn't take much. You go visit a community or two and you'll quickly pick up on those challenges. So, you know, it's
Right.
important that we don't just sit in our seats and, you know, talk from the ivory tower, but actually get out there in the field and see it. And Charles, there's nobody better than Charles, who's done this for years.
You probably don't know this, but I was founder of SeniorNet, the first social network for older people, 35 years ago. But I've always been committed to this. So I was kind of excited when Charles started Link Senior. But let's talk about what this means for your customers and the residents, Rob and Charles.
Yeah, so to be clear, we're not, again, there's do no harm in the we might change, we might evolve, but it should be for the betterment of our customers and our employees at the same time. So we are going to be very careful with taking a very intentional approach on our integration between the businesses. We're going to make sure that both from a brand and product perspective that it again is a very intentional approach. Maintaining the customer experience will remain number one for us. So when we're bringing the solutions together, it'll be you know, again, a best of both worlds between the legacy IN2L resident engagement solution along with the Link Senior solution. There's some aspects of the integration from a technical standpoint that we will be working on through the remainder of this year. But our goal is to have both of the businesses fully integrated by the end of the year. And then from there, we're going to be able to bring about, we'll obviously we'll be at over 5,500 communities as a whole, which is pretty unique in this space, as I understand it, to get to that scale. Yeah, we're thrilled about how we're going after this, and again bringing the mind share and the experience of somebody like Charles onto this team is I mean is the cherry on top, if you will.
Maybe for both of you, you know, you've mentioned technology a number of times and the way you're employing it. Which technologies excite you today, or maybe have the most promise to be disruptive in this space? Maybe both of you can chime in on this.
Charles, I'll let you go first.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I like to say, I mean, obviously I'm going to talk about AI because I think AI is very exciting, but I want to also go one step back, which is, you know, Fred, if you look at the typical way resident experiences run, unfortunately, there's still a lot of paper. So, you know, I tend to say that any technology tends to be better than the status quo. So when you see a platform like LifeLoop that actually helps you run everything from the resident experience, starting from resident engagement and memory care, all the way down to assisted living, skilled, and a little bit in IL. And on top of that, you add an operations suite that help manage everything like transportation and dining and service requests. I think what excites me is not only the technology per se itself, but also the data and the insights. And I mean, we have a huge, quote unquote, unfair advantage because Link Senior had great insights, LifeLoop had a great breadth and great insights as well. And so I think what excites me the most is you now see providers that manage resident experience with data. And that was not done before. So I know that sounds simple, but for the industry, it is huge. And obviously AI with predictive and helping build and guide and, for example, recommendations around what type of program a resident might enjoy. That's very exciting as well. So hopefully I left a little bit for Rob, but these are super exciting. And at LifeLoop, we're very excited to be working on some of these things.
Yeah, Charles, appreciate your take on that. I think the interesting thing is that there could be a lot of excitement around, and AI, of course. There are a ton of fall predictive technologies out there. There, quite frankly, are a lot of technologies that go, the use of Alexa, and how's that gonna play out. I'm gonna echo a little bit of what Charles just said, and I think quite frankly, there's still just some basic blocking and tackling that needs to be done from an operation standpoint with these communities in order for them to get better leverage out of those, maybe next generation type tech. So I think a hyper focus on reducing the needs of the staff of today and getting focused on more efficient operations is an easy one. The other, I will say, is that this continued narrowing or focus on personalization within senior living, and that not every resident is alike. Just like each of us on this podcast, we all have our different likes, dislikes, preferences, whatever it might be. And especially for folks like us that are hyper focused on the resident engagement or resident experience, in order for them to thrive, to find purpose, we need to be hyper personalized and knowing that resident, and oftentimes it is in the mind of an activity director, but actually putting it into a system of their likes, dislikes, doing matchmaking, so to speak, and finding others. People want community. No matter what age you are, people want community, and trying to drive towards that personalization and find community to find then purpose is, I think, are technologies that are interesting to us.
Can I add one quick thing here? I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually an activity director myself. And I love what Rob said is just 100% bang on it, because I often like to say that if you look at the website of any senior living communities, every single one talks about move in my community, you'll get person-centered experience every day. And we know, unfortunately, it's not happening every day. And that building technology to help deliver on that hyper-personalization, I think that's what the market needs, absolutely needs. And that's what residents deserve. So I'm very, I'll just echo what Rob was saying, 100%.
Well, I think, that community has been the essence of what I've been always saying we should be building with and for older adults. And the notion of having these insights that you can translate into programs is wonderful. And that's really delivering on the promise to families if there are changes in staff. It's not all in the head of the activity director. So you're on the cutting edge, and it sounds like amazing leadership to knit this all together, and we look for great things to come. So congratulations to both of you on your accomplishments and the innovations that you're bringing into the world of senior living. Very exciting.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity, Mary and Fred. We thank you for just first off, even hosting this podcast, giving us the opportunity to talk about this deal, and we thank you and for all you do and to support this industry.
Thank you. We hope to feature you at our conferences as well. So, Fred, wasn't that great?
That's terrific. And the site for more info is lifeloop.com. Thank you to Rob and Charles, and thank all of you for spending time with us. You can always find us and the What's Next Living Longer, Better, Smarter podcast as well at maryfurlong.com/podcasts.